I am 68 years old. 3 months ago, two federal agents knocked on my door. They wanted to talk about missing hikers.
Follow your lead.
For 30 years, I kept quiet. I knew the truth. I knew where they went. But I could not tell anyone. I worked as search and rescue coordinator in Washington State. Families trusted me to find their loved ones. I found the answers. But what I learned made me choose silence over truth. His name was Ezra. At least that is what the carving said. He showed me everything. My name is Jack Morrison. I live alone in a cabin outside North Cascades National Park. I have been retired for 9 years now. People think I left because of my age. They are wrong. I left because I could not lie anymore. Not to the families, not to myself. But when those two agents showed up at my door in February, I knew my silence was about to end. They wore dark suits, they had badges, FBI, they had files, maps, photographs, and they had questions I hoped no one would ever ask. The older agent introduced himself as Reynolds. The younger one was Chen. They asked if they could come inside. I said yes. What else could I do? I made coffee. My hands shook a little. Reynolds noticed. He smiled like he understood. But he did not understand anything. Not yet. They sat at my kitchen table. Chen opened a laptop. Reynolds opened a folder. Inside were copies of my old case reports, dozens of them, all from my 30 years with North Cascades Search and Rescue. Reynolds spoke first. He said they were investigating unusual patterns in missing person cases. He said my district had interesting statistics, higher recovery rate than average, but also strange details in the reports. Hikers found in impossible locations. No explanation for how they got there. He asked if I remembered any cases that seemed odd. I told him every case is odd when someone goes missing. He nodded, but his eyes said he knew I was holding back. Chen turned the laptop toward me. On the screen was a map. North Cascades, Sector 7, the Forbidden Zone. Red dots marked locations where hikers vanished. Blue dots marked where they were found. The pattern was clear. People disappeared in one area. They appeared miles away in another. No roads, no trails, just dense forest and mountains. Reynolds asked how I explained it. I told him terrain confusion, panic. People wander when they are lost. He asked if I ever found evidence of animal activity, large animals. I drank my coffee. I said bears sometimes move through the area. Chen asked a different question. He asked if I ever saw anything I could not explain. Tracks, structures, signs of something unusual. I looked at him. His face was serious. I realized they were not just investigating missing hikers, they were investigating something else. Something they would not name. I told them I saw a lot of things in 30 years. Strange rocks, odd tree formations, but nature does strange things. Chen nodded. He closed the laptop. Reynolds closed the folder. They stood up. Reynolds handed me his card. He said if I remembered anything important, I should call. They left. I sat at that table for an hour after they drove away. I looked at the card. I thought about Ezra. I thought about the cave. I thought about all the families I lied to. And I thought about what would happen if the government found what I found. They would destroy it. They would capture it. They would turn protection into a weapon. I could not let that happen. Not after 30 years. Not after everything Ezra showed me. It started in 1987. I was 31 years old. I had just been promoted to SAR coordinator for the North Cascades district. It was a big job. The park covered over 500,000 acres. Most of it was wilderness, no roads, no cell towers, just mountains and forest. Every year we got calls about missing hikers. Some we found alive, some we found dead, some we never found at all. The terrain was unforgiving. People got lost easy. They fell, they got hurt, they panicked. My job was to bring them home. My first week on the job, my supervisor gave me the talk. He was a man named Frank Ridley, former ranger, 20 years experience. He knew the mountains better than anyone. He sat me down in his office. He pulled out a map. He pointed to the northwest corner. Sector 7, he said that area was trouble. He said hikers vanished there more than anywhere else. He said the terrain was dangerous, cliffs, sinkholes, dense forest. He told me to discourage people from going there, and if they went anyway, to search fast. Because the longer someone stayed lost in Sector 7, the worse their chances. I asked him how many people went missing there each year. He said too many. He pulled out statistics. In the last 10 years, 47 hikers vanished in Sector 7. We found 31 of them, alive or dead. The other 16 were never seen again. No bodies, no belongings, nothing, just gone. He said the families always asked questions. Where did they go? What happened? He said we never had good answers, just theories. Falls into deep ravines, animal attacks, exposure, the families hated it. But there was nothing else to tell them. Frank told me something else that day. He said some of the cases were weird. Hikers found in places that made no sense, miles from where they should be. He said experienced searchers could not explain it. They just called it luck, good timing, miracle. But Frank did not believe in miracles. He said something else was going on. He did not know what, and he told me not to dig too deep. Do the job, find people, write reports, go home. Do not ask questions that make the park look bad. I listened, I nodded. I said I understood, but I was curious. I wanted to see those weird cases. So after Frank left, I went to the archives. I pulled files from the last 20 years. I read every case report from Sector 7, and Frank was right. Some of them made no sense at all. Case from 1982. A man named Robert Hayes went hiking alone. He told his wife he would be back by evening. He never came back. Search teams looked for 3 days. They found him on day 4. He was 14 miles from his planned route. He was sitting under a tree, calm, unhurt. When they asked what happened, he said he did not remember. He remembered starting the hike, then nothing, then waking up under that tree. His backpack was next to him. His water bottle was full. His map was folded neatly like someone prepared it for him. Case from 1979. A college student named Linda Wu. She went hiking with friends. They split up to cover more ground. She never met them at the rendezvous point. They called for help. We searched for 2 days. Found her on day 3. She was 9 miles off course. She was unconscious when we found her. When she woke up, she had no injuries, just confusion. She said the last thing she remembered was feeling dizzy. Then nothing. Her friends said it was heat stroke. The doctors said maybe, but her body showed no signs of it. Case from 1976, twin brothers, age 16, experienced hikers. They knew the park well. They went on a day hike. They told their parents they would be home by dark. They did not come home. Search started the next morning. We found them 48 hours later. They were 11 miles from their route. They were together, sitting by a creek, eating berries. When we asked what happened, they told the same story. They got tired. They sat down to rest. Something approached them, something big. They thought it was a bear. They passed out from fear. When they woke up, they were by the creek. Their gear was with them, arranged carefully. The searchers said the boys imagined it. Panic does that, makes you see things. I read 15 cases like that, all from Sector 7, all the same pattern. Hikers found far from search areas, no memory of how they got there. Belongings intact and organized, and always the same detail. Someone or something moved them. The reports never said that directly, but it was there, between the lines, in the strange distances, in the impossible relocations. Something in Sector 7 was finding lost people and moving them. The first strange case came in June 1987. A college student named Sarah Mitchell went hiking alone. She told her roommate she would be back by sunset. She never came back. The roommate called park rangers the next morning. We organized a search. 40 volunteers, dogs, helicopters. We searched her planned route. Nothing. We expanded the grid. Still nothing. On day 3, a volunteer found her. She was 15 miles from her last known location. She was sitting against a tree, conscious, confused, barely injured. I reached her first. I asked if she was okay. She nodded. I asked what happened. She said she did not know. She remembered hiking. She remembered getting tired. She sat down to rest. Then nothing. She woke up against that tree. I checked her belongings. Everything was there, her backpack, her water bottle, her map. Everything was arranged neatly beside her, like someone placed it carefully. I asked if anyone helped her. She said no. She said she was alone the whole time. The medics checked her. Mild dehydration, a few scratches, but nothing serious, no head injury, no reason for memory loss. We brought her down. Her family was grateful. The case was closed, recovery successful. But I kept thinking about those 15 miles. Sarah was in good shape, but she could not have walked that far without water, without food, not in 3 days, and her belongings. Someone arranged them. I wrote it in my report. Unusual recovery location, no explanation. My supervisor read it. He said not to overthink it. People do strange things when they panic. But I could not stop thinking about it. I went back to Sarah's recovery site a week later, alone, off duty. I wanted to see the area again. I hiked to the spot where we found her. I looked around. The tree she was leaning against was old, thick trunk, heavy branches. The ground around it was soft, pine needles, moss. I looked for tracks. I found some. Boot prints from our search team, but I found something else too. A print in the soft earth near the tree. It was huge, maybe 18 inches long, 5 toes, deep impression. It looked almost human, but no human has feet that big. I took photos. I measured it, length, width, depth. I tried to think what animal could make it. Bear tracks looked different. Paws, claws. This had toes, like a foot. A giant human foot. I followed the direction it pointed. I found 2 more prints. Then they disappeared on rocky ground. I marked the location on my GPS. I did not tell anyone. What would I say? I found a giant footprint. They would laugh, or worse. They would think I was making excuses for a slow search. I tried to forget about it. I went back to normal work. Training new volunteers, updating maps, running practice drills. But in 1989, it happened again. A man named David Chen went missing. He was an experienced hiker. He knew the park well. He vanished on a solo trip. We found him 4 days later. He was 12 miles from his route. He was unconscious. When he woke up in the hospital, he had no memory, just like Sarah, and his gear was arranged the same way, neatly, carefully, like someone wanted it found. I went back to David's recovery site too. Same thing. Giant footprints in the soft ground nearby, 3 of them this time, all heading uphill, away from the recovery spot. I took more photos. I took measurements. The prints were consistent with the ones I found at Sarah's site. Same size, same shape, same depth. Whatever made these tracks was heavy, powerful, and it was moving people. I started paying closer attention after that. I went back through old case files. I found 3 more cases from before my time. Same pattern. Hikers found far from search areas. No memory, belongings intact and organized, all in the same general region. Sector 7, the northwest corner of the park. Remote, dangerous terrain. We told hikers to avoid it. Most did, but some did not listen, and those were the ones who vanished. In 1991, I decided to search Sector 7 myself, alone, off the record. I told Frank I was doing terrain surveys, updating trail maps. He approved it. He said it was good initiative, so I started going into Sector 7 every chance I got. Weekends, days off. early mornings before my shift. I was looking for answers. I was looking for whoever or whatever was making those tracks. The first thing I found were the markers. Stacked rocks, 3 or 4 stones balanced carefully on top of each other. They were placed along game trails, deer paths, old logging roads. I had seen stacked rocks before. Hikers make them sometimes, trail markers, but these were different. They were in places no hiker would go. Deep forest, no trails, no reason for anyone to be there. And they were old, covered in moss, lichen. These had been here for years, maybe decades. I found broken branches too, bent at shoulder height, twisted into shapes. Some were woven together, like crude fences. Others were snapped and left hanging. Deliberate, intentional. I know trees. I grew up in the woods. I know what wind damage looks like, what animal damage looks like. This was neither. This was communication or territory marking. Something was leaving signs, but for who? I started leaving things. Small offerings. I did not know what else to do. I would find a stacked rock marker. I would leave something nearby, a bag of apples, granola bars, a first aid kit. Then I would leave. I would come back a week later. The items would be gone, and in their place would be more stacked rocks. New ones, fresh. It was communication, primitive, simple, but real. Someone was taking my offerings. Someone was responding. This went on for months. I would leave supplies, they would disappear. New rock stacks would appear. I started leaving different things, tools, a knife, rope, a tarp, a flashlight, batteries. All of it disappeared. All of it was acknowledged with new markers. I was building trust. With what, I did not know. But I was building it. In the spring of 1995, I found the cave. I was following a creek upstream. The water was high from snowmelt. Fast, cold. I followed it for 2 miles into dense forest. The creek led to a waterfall, maybe 30 feet high. The sound was deafening. The mist was thick. I almost turned back, but something made me look closer. Behind the waterfall was a gap in the rock, a hidden entrance. You could not see it from the front, only from the side, where the mist did not reach. I used my flashlight. I stepped through the water. The gap was narrow, maybe 3 feet wide, but it opened up fast. The tunnel was tall, 8 feet, 9 feet, smooth walls worn by water over centuries. I followed it inward. The sound of the waterfall faded. The tunnel curved left. Then it opened into a chamber, and inside that chamber I saw the collection. Backpacks, dozens of them, lined up against the cave wall, organized by size, by color, by age. I stood there staring. My heart was pounding. I walked closer. I picked up the first backpack. It was old, faded. The zippers were rusted. I opened it. Inside was an ID card in a plastic sleeve. Sarah Jennings, date of birth 1965, reported missing 1983. I knew that case. She was 18 years old, hiking alone, never found. The search went on for 2 weeks. Nothing. And here was her backpack. In a cave behind a waterfall. I opened another. Michael Torres, missing 1978, never found. Another. Jennifer Cole, missing 1985, never found. I went through 10 more, all missing hikers, all unsolved cases. Their belongings were here. Protected from weather, from animals, from decay. Someone had been collecting them for years, decades. Someone knew where these people went, and someone cared enough to save what was left. I sat down on the cave floor. My mind was racing. These people died out here, somewhere in Sector 7, and someone found them. Someone brought their belongings here, protected them, honored them. But why not report it? Why not bring the belongings to authorities? Why hide them in a cave? I heard something behind me, a low sound, like breathing, deep, slow. I turned fast. My flashlight beam caught movement in the tunnel. A shape, massive, tall. It ducked back into shadow before I could see details. My heart hammered in my chest. I stood up. I called out. I said I was not here to hurt anyone. I said I just wanted to understand. No response, just silence. Then footsteps, heavy, slow, moving away, going deeper into the cave system. I did not follow. Not that day. I was not ready. I was not prepared. I left the cave. I hiked back down. My mind was spinning. What did I just see? What was living in that cave? And why was it collecting belongings from dead hikers? I did not sleep that night. I kept seeing that shape in the tunnel, the size of it, the way it moved, deliberate, careful, not like an animal, like something intelligent, something aware. I went back to the cave 6 more times over the next 2 years. Each time I left supplies at the entrance. Food, tools, blankets, medicine, batteries. I would place them just inside the tunnel. Then I would leave. I never went deeper. I did not want to intrude. I wanted to show I was not a threat, that I respected the space. The next time I came back, the supplies would be gone, taken deeper into the cave, and the collection of backpacks would have grown. New ones would appear, from hikers who vanished recently, from cases I was actively working. That confirmed it. Whatever lived in that cave was still active, still finding lost hikers, still collecting their belongings. And it was doing it while I was searching, while teams of volunteers combed the mountains. This thing was moving through the forest unseen, unheard, finding people we could not find and bringing their belongings here, to this hidden place. In 1996, I found a body. A hiker named Paul Stevens went missing in October. We searched for a week, found nothing. The case went cold. But I kept looking, on my own time, in areas outside the official search grid. I found him in a ravine 2 miles from Sector 7. He had fallen, broken neck, dead on impact. His body was covered with branches, not random, arranged carefully, protecting him from scavengers, from weather. His backpack was gone. I knew where it was. In the cave, added to the collection. I reported the body. I did not mention the branches. I said I found him during a personal hike. The medical examiner confirmed cause of death, accidental fall. The family got closure. But I knew the truth. Someone found Paul before I did. Someone covered his body with respect. Someone took his belongings to keep them safe. And someone let me find him, so his family could bury him. The 4th case in my time came in 1992. No, wait, I already told you about that. Let me continue from 1997. In the summer of 1997, I found the drawings. I was at the cave entrance, leaving my usual supply drop. I noticed marks on the wall I had not seen before. I shined my flashlight on them. They were scratched into the stone, crude symbols, stick figures. One showed a small human, arms out, lost, confused. Another showed a larger figure, much larger, standing over the small one, protecting. The 3rd drawing showed danger symbols, a cliff, water, fire, lightning, and then a 4th drawing. It showed the large figure carrying the small one, moving it to a tree, to safety. I stared at those drawings for an hour. I traced them with my fingers. This was a story, an explanation. The creature was telling me what it did. It found lost hikers. It saw them in danger. It moved them, relocated them to safe areas where we could find them. It was not hurting people. It was saving them. And the ones it could not save, it honored their remains. It protected their belongings. It gave them dignity. I sat down in front of those drawings. I felt something I had not felt in years. Respect, deep respect. This creature was not a monster. It was a guardian. It understood loss. It understood death. It understood that families needed closure. It was doing what I was supposed to do. Save people, bring them home. But it did it without recognition, without thanks, without anyone knowing. Just quiet, endless work in the shadows. I made a decision that day. I would protect this secret. I would not report the cave. I would not report the belongings. I would not report the creature. I would continue my job as SAR coordinator, but I would also continue visiting, building trust, and maybe one day I would meet this creature face to face, and I would thank it for everything it had done. That day came in October 1998. I was in the cave. I had just left a new supply drop, canned food, a compass, waterproof matches, a medical kit. I was about to leave when I heard it, a low whistle, musical, deliberate, not random. I froze. I turned slowly. Standing in the tunnel entrance was the creature I had been searching for. It was 9 feet tall, maybe more, covered in silver-gray fur, long arms that reached past its knees, broad shoulders, thick chest. The face was somewhere between human and ape, a heavy brow, deep-set eyes, flat nose, wide mouth, but the eyes were what caught me. Dark, intelligent, sad, ancient. We stared at each other for what felt like forever. I did not move. I kept my hands visible, empty. No weapon, no threat. I said hello. My voice echoed in the cave. The creature tilted its head, listening, watching. I said I was not here to hurt it. I said I wanted to help. I said I understood what it was doing, protecting people, saving people. The creature took a step forward. Slow, careful, like it was afraid of scaring me. Then another step. It stopped 10 feet away from me, close enough to reach me in one stride, close enough to kill me if it wanted, but it did not. Instead, it pointed at the supplies I brought. Then it pointed at me. Then it placed one massive hand over its chest. The gesture was clear. Thank you. I felt tears in my eyes. I do not know why. Relief, maybe. Wonder. The weight of knowing I was right. This thing was real, and it was more human than most people I knew. More compassionate, more caring. I pointed at myself. I said my name slowly. Jack. The creature watched. It tilted its head again, processing. Then it turned. It walked to the cave wall, to a section I had not noticed before. There was a carving. Rough, old, faded. It said Ezra 1953. The creature pointed at the carving, then at itself. Then it looked at me, waiting. Ezra. Its name was Ezra. Or maybe that was the name it chose, or the name someone gave it long ago. I said the name out loud. Ezra. The creature nodded. A slow, deliberate nod. It understood. We had communication now. After years of leaving offerings, after years of searching, after years of wondering. I was standing face to face with the guardian of Sector 7, and its name was Ezra. Ezra moved to the collection of backpacks. It picked one up gently, opened it, showed me the contents. A jacket, a water bottle, a notebook with notes, family photos. Ezra pointed at the items, then it made a gesture, hands coming together like holding something precious, protecting it. It was showing me these were not trophies, not souvenirs, these were memories. Evidence of people it tried to save, people it could not save. Ezra carried guilt, just like I did. I asked if I could see more. Ezra nodded. It led me deeper into the cave. The tunnel opened into another chamber, larger than the first, maybe 40 feet across. And in this chamber there were more than belongings. There were stones arranged in rows. Burial mounds. I counted them. 23, maybe more. Human remains under each one, protected, honored, kept safe from animals, from decay, from being lost forever. Ezra pointed at the mounds. Then it made a gesture, hands lowering gently, like laying someone to rest, covering them. It had buried these people, given them graves, given them dignity. I walked closer to one of the mounds. There was a marker, a flat stone with scratches on it. A name, Mary, a year, 1989. I knew that case. Mary Henderson, age 52, missing hiker, never found. Here she was, resting under stones, protected by a creature the world did not believe existed. I asked Ezra what happened to them. Ezra walked to the wall. It picked up a piece of charcoal from an old fire pit. It drew on the stone. Simple pictures. A human walking near a cliff, the ground giving way, the human falling. Ezra drew itself reaching out, but too late. The human already hurt, already dying. Ezra drew itself carrying the body here, to the cave, to rest, safe, protected. I understood. These people died from accidents, falls, heart attacks, medical emergencies, injuries. Ezra found them, but could not save them. So it gave them the next best thing, a proper burial, a marker, a place to rest. It did what I could not do. It gave families answers, even if those families would never know. I asked about the ones who lived, the ones we found relocated, Sarah Mitchell, David Chen, the others. Ezra drew again. A human wandering near danger, near a cliff, near water, near unstable ground. Ezra drew itself watching, waiting. When the human got too close to death, Ezra moved them, carried them while unconscious, took them to safe ground, flat areas near trails, where search teams could find them. Ezra was not kidnapping people, it was saving them, giving them a chance, then disappearing before anyone saw. I asked why it never brought them all the way out. Why not take them to rangers, to trailheads, to safety? Ezra drew one more picture. Humans with guns, humans with cages, humans hunting. It pointed at itself. Then it drew bars, a cage, captivity. I understood completely. Ezra knew what would happen if humans saw it. Fear, panic, violence. Hunters would come, scientists would come, government would come. Ezra would be captured, studied, locked away, or killed. So it stayed hidden, did its work in shadow, and let us take the credit. I sat down on the cave floor. I looked at Ezra. I said I was sorry. Sorry humans made it hide. Sorry it had to work alone all these years. Sorry it carried this weight with no recognition. Ezra sat down too, cross-legged, like a person. It looked at me with those dark, intelligent eyes, and I swear it understood every word I said. We sat there in silence for a long time. Two beings who spent their lives trying to save people. Two beings who knew the cost of failure. Two beings who carried guilt that never went away. That was the beginning. Over the next 5 years, I visited Ezra regularly, once a month, sometimes more. I brought supplies, food, tools, medicine, books with pictures. Ezra could not read words, but it liked images, mountains, animals, families, children. It would study the pictures for hours, tracing them with one thick finger. I think it was lonely. I think it had been alone for a very long time. And I was the first human who ever tried to understand instead of hunt. I learned Ezra's language. It was simple. Gestures, drawings, sounds, whistles meant come here. Wood knocks meant danger. Rock stacks meant safe. Broken branches meant boundaries. Do not cross. Ezra taught me to see the forest differently. To read signs I had walked past my whole life. The forest was full of communication. I had just never paid attention. Ezra showed me its world. The deep places, the hidden valleys, the caves that went on for miles underground. The fresh water springs, the berry patches, the places where elk gathered in winter. Ezra knew every inch of Sector 7. It had lived here its whole life, and its family before it. This was not just home. This was sacred ground, protected ground, and Ezra was the protector. In 2003, Ezra introduced me to the others. I arrived at the cave one morning. Ezra was waiting, but it was not alone. There was a female, smaller than Ezra, maybe 7 feet tall, silver-brown fur, lighter than Ezra's, gentle face, soft eyes. She stayed back, cautious, watching me. Ezra made sounds, low hoots, reassuring. The female approached slowly. She sniffed the air, smelling me. Then she sat down, accepting my presence. There were 2 younger ones too. Adolescents, maybe 5 feet tall. curious, bold. They approached faster than the female. One touched my backpack, examining it. The other touched my jacket, feeling the fabric. They made sounds, high-pitched, excited. Ezra grunted, a warning. Be careful. The young ones backed off, but they kept watching me. Fascinated, I realized this was Ezra's family mate, offspring. They lived together in the cave system, hidden from the world, surviving, protecting the forest, protecting lost humans. Generation after generation. This was bigger than just Ezra. This was a legacy, a family tradition. And I was being trusted with the biggest secret in North Cascades. Over the next year, I got to know them. The female was gentle. She brought me gifts, berries, edible roots, clean water in a hollowed gourd. She showed me which plants were safe, which were poison. She taught me things my training never covered. Forest knowledge passed down through generations. Knowledge humans lost long ago. The young ones were playful. They showed me their drawings. They were learning from Ezra how to watch humans, how to help without being seen, how to read danger. They drew pictures of me. Stick figure with a backpack. They thought it was funny. I laughed too. It was strange. Sitting in a cave with creatures the world thought were myths. Laughing, playing, being accepted. Ezra showed me more that year. It took me to the danger zones, the red areas on my mental map, places where hikers always got lost, always got hurt. I saw why. Sinkholes hidden under leaves and moss. They opened up without warning, swallow you whole. Cliffs obscured by fog and trees. You could walk right off them. Abandoned mine shafts from old logging operations covered by vegetation. One wrong step and you fall 50 feet into darkness. But there was something else. Evidence of human activity, recent activity. Old camps hidden in thick forest. Trash buried under leaves. Shell casings, lots of them. Tire tracks from ATVs, propane tanks, irrigation lines. This was not just dangerous terrain. People were using these areas. Illegal operations, marijuana grows maybe, or meth labs, or smuggling routes to Canada. The border was only 15 miles north. Ezra showed me more evidence, tripwires, cameras hidden in trees, motion sensors. Armed people patrolled these areas. I never saw them, but Ezra did. It avoided them, watched them, and when hikers wandered too close, Ezra moved them, fast, before they saw too much. Before they became witnesses, before they became problems that got solved with bullets. The last time I saw the whole family was spring 2012. I made the full hike to the cave. It took me 4 hours. Ezra was there. The female, the young ones. Except they were not young anymore. They were full-grown, almost as tall as Ezra, strong, capable, ready to take over when Ezra could not continue. That made me happy. The legacy would continue, the protection would continue even after Ezra. I visited one more time in 2014, spring again. I brought Ezra's favorite things, honey, dried fruit, a new tarp, batteries for a flashlight I gave it years before. I called out when I reached the cave, like always, no answer. That was unusual. I called again. Nothing. I went inside. The cave was quiet, too quiet. I walked to the main chamber. Ezra was there, lying against the back wall. Still, not moving. I knew before I checked. Ezra was dead. I sat down beside it. I put my hand on its shoulder. The fur was still warm. It had not been long. Maybe hours. I checked for injuries. Nothing. No wounds, no blood, just old age. Ezra was 61 years old. Maybe that is old for its kind. Maybe it was just time. I sat there crying. I had lost the only being who truly understood what I carried, the only one who knew the truth, the only friend I had in this secret. I stayed with Ezra for hours. I said goodbye. I thanked it for everything, for showing me the truth, for trusting me, for protecting people who would never know, for being better than humans ever deserved. Then I buried Ezra deep in the cave. I covered it with stones, layer after layer. I carved the date on the wall. Ezra 1953 to 2014, and I said a prayer, not religious, just words. Rest now, your work is done, you earned peace. I left the cave. I sealed the entrance as best I could. Big rocks, branches. I did not want anyone finding it, finding Ezra, disturbing the rest. I hiked back down. It took 6 hours. I cried the whole way. When I got home, I sat on my porch. I looked toward the mountains, toward Sector 7, and I made a decision. I could not do this anymore. I could not keep lying, not without Ezra. I retired from SR in 2015. I told people it was time. 30 years was enough. I was almost 60. I had done my part. But the real reason was I could not face another grateful family, another award, another lie. Without Ezra, the work felt hollow, empty. I was just a man who got lucky sometimes, nothing more. I moved to this cabin, away from the park, away from people. I took all my private files with me, boxes of documents, photos of footprints, maps of recovery sites, notes from 30 years, everything I collected. I thought about destroying it, burning it, erasing the evidence, but I could not. It was the only proof Ezra existed, the only record of what it did. So I locked it in my basement, hidden, safe, a secret I would take to my grave. The young ones moved on. I never saw them again. No tracks near the cave, no signs in Sector 7. Maybe they went deeper into the wilderness, north into Canada, somewhere even more remote, somewhere satellites could not reach. Or maybe they learned the final lesson. Humans are not worth saving. Humans are not worth the risk. Either way, they were gone, and Sector 7 became just another dangerous area. No guardian, no protection, just nature. I lived quietly for 9 years. I fished, I read, I tried to forget. But you do not forget something like Ezra. You do not forget carrying a secret that big. Some nights I dreamed about the cave, about Ezra showing me the drawings, about the family watching from shadows, about stacked rocks and whistles in the forest. I would wake up feeling grateful and guilty, always guilty. Then 3 months ago, the knock came, February 2024. 2 federal agents, Reynolds and Chen. They sat at my kitchen table. They asked their questions. They showed me their maps, their data, thermal imaging, heat signatures in Sector 7, large, moving, unidentified. They knew something was out there and they were getting close. I gave them nothing. I played the part. Old man, retired, memory fading. Just lucky, that is all. They did not believe me, I could see it. But they had no proof. Not yet. They left. But Reynolds said something at the door. He said thermal imaging would continue. He said they had drones now, satellites, new technology. He said if there was something in those mountains, they would find it. Eventually, I watched them drive away. I sat at my table. I thought about Ezra's family, the young ones. Were they still out there? Still in Sector 7, or had they moved on? I hoped they moved on. I hoped they were in Canada, deep wilderness, beyond drones, beyond satellites, beyond human reach, safe. I thought about calling Reynolds, telling him the truth. Maybe if I explained, they would understand. They would protect instead of capture. But I know better. The government does not protect things like this. It controls them, studies them, uses them. If I told them about Ezra, they would not honor it. They would exploit it, find the others, capture them, turn guardians into weapons or experiments. I could not allow that, so I made my choice, the same choice I made 30 years ago. Silence. I will not call Reynolds. I will not cooperate. I will not tell the truth. I will protect Ezra's legacy, even if it means lying to federal agents, even if it means obstruction, even if it means carrying this guilt forever. Some secrets protect the innocent. Some lies serve the greater good. I burned the files last week, all of them, every photo, every map, every note, 30 years of evidence. I watched it turn to ash in my fireplace. It hurt, like burning a piece of my soul. But it was necessary. If the feds come back with a warrant, they will find nothing. No proof, no evidence. Just an old man who worked search and rescue, who got lucky sometimes, who does not remember much anymore. But I remember everything. I remember Ezra's eyes. I remember the drawings on the cave wall. I remember the backpacks lined up carefully. I remember the burial mounds. I remember the trust. The understanding. The silent agreement between two beings who wanted to save people. I will carry those memories until I die, and I will never speak them aloud. Not to anyone. Sometimes at night I walk outside. I look toward the mountains, toward Sector 7. I wonder if they are still there, still watching, still protecting. I hope not. I hope they learned. Humans destroy what they do not understand. Humans fear what they cannot control. Humans take credit for miracles they did not perform. The young ones are better off far away, where we cannot reach them. But last week I saw something. I was walking my property line, checking the fence. I found stacked rocks, 3 stones, balanced perfectly, the way Ezra used to do it. I stood there staring, my heart racing. It could be coincidence, kids playing, hikers passing through. But I do not think so. I think it was a message. Goodbye, maybe, or thank you, or we are still here. I do not know. I stacked 3 rocks of my own beside them. I walked away. I have not been back to that spot. I do not want to know if the rocks are still there, or if they moved. Some questions are better left unanswered. Some connections are better left quiet. I had my time with Ezra. I learned what I needed to learn. Now I have to let go. The federal agents have not returned. 3 months and nothing. Maybe they moved on. Maybe their data was inconclusive. Maybe they have bigger priorities, or maybe they are watching me, waiting for me to slip up, to lead them somewhere. I will not. I will live out my days here, quiet, alone, keeping my secret, protecting what cannot protect itself anymore. People ask sometimes if I miss the work. Search and rescue, finding lost people, bringing them home. I tell them yes. And I do. The work was good, important. But I do not miss the lying. I do not miss taking credit for miracles I did not perform. I do not miss knowing the truth while everyone else believes a story. That part I do not miss at all. I am Jack Morrison. I am 68 years old. For 30 years I knew where missing hikers went. I knew who saved them. I knew who protected them. I knew the truth. And when the feds came asking questions, I lied to their faces. I would do it again, 1,000 times, because some secrets protect the innocent. Some lies serve a greater good, and some beings deserve to live in peace, hidden, safe, free from human interference. Ezra taught me that, not with words, but with action. 61 years of quiet protection, no recognition, no thanks. No reward. Just work. Endless, thankless work. Saving people who would never know they were saved. Honoring people who would never be found properly. That is love. Real love. The kind that asks nothing in return. The kind that costs everything. I hope Ezra's family is still out there. Somewhere beyond the satellites. Beyond the drones. Beyond human greed and curiosity. I hope they remember what Ezra taught them. Stay hidden, stay careful. And if you must help humans do it from shadow, never let them see you, because the moment they do, everything ends. Trust ends, safety ends, freedom ends. I will die with this secret. There will be no deathbed confession, no final revelation, just silence. The same silence I kept for 30 years. And when I am gone, maybe the truth dies with me. Maybe that is how it should be. Maybe some stories are not meant to be told. Some heroes are not meant to be known. Some guardians work best when the world never knows they exist. But I needed to write this down, just once. Just for myself. So I know it was real. So I know I did not imagine it. Ezra was real, the protection was real, the trust was real, the love was real. And for 30 years I was part of something bigger than myself. Something pure, something good. Something that asked nothing and gave everything. I will take that to my grave. And I will be grateful I lived long enough to witness it. The mountains are quiet tonight. The stars are bright, cold, beautiful. Somewhere out there, maybe one of them is watching. Stacking rocks, moving lost hikers to safety, honoring the dead, carrying on the work. I hope so. The world needs guardians, even if the world never knows they exist, especially then. I am Jack Morrison. I am 68 years old. I knew where the missing hikers went. They went to Ezra. And Ezra brought them home. That is the truth, the only truth that matters. And it is a truth I will protect until my last breath. Some secrets are worth dying for. This is one of them.